Okay. Darlene Willis is a member of the Mississippi Band of Choctaw Indians. She resides in the Pearl River community located on the Choctaw Reservation in Choctaw, Mississippi. She is married to Ray Willis and has 3 sons, Caleb Willis, Ozzie Willis, and Reyes Willis. She is the coordinator of the Diabetes Prevention Program for the Mississippi Band of Choctaw Indians Choctaw Health Center. She serves as an administrative personnel for the Diabetes Care Clinic. She updates the Choctaw Health Center administration, tribal leaders, United South and Eastern Tribes, also known as USET, and Department of Grants Management. She also makes sure that the Diabetes Care Clinic personnel maintains their certifications. She is a member of the Diabetes Coalition of Mississippi. Another project that she is also involved is with Vanderbilt University in identifying challenges in diabetes management and develop computer, cell phone, and internet tools to improve diabetes care and management in Choctaw communities. As coordinator, her and her team plan events throughout the year to prevent diabetes for the tribe. The events include health fairs, wellness seminars, Choctaw Fair booth focusing on diabetes prevention, cooking demonstrations, the 10,000 step program, water aerobics, community walks, fitness day, fishing rodeos, bike rodeos, parties, basketball tournaments, World Diabetes Day, fitness education, diabetes education, home run derby, exercise classes, intensive fitness classes, and bingo nights. One of the biggest events is the annual Unity Spring Walk. The annual Unity Walk Unity Walk is held in every June. The annual Unity Walk is the opener of stickball season. The Unity Walk consists of each stickball team walking or running from their respective stickball fields throughout the 8 communities. For the first time this year, the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma joined us for the Unity Walk. Darlene shows compassion and dedication. She strives to make sure that the rate of diabetes will decrease in the future. She states, "Unity is our best practice to prevent diabetes." Good job, girl.
She got it all. I'm going. she told everything I was gonna say.
This is about what you do.
Almost supposed to follow that.
Wait, let her talk and then you can introduce Jennifer. How about that?
No, that's fine. You can go. You can go. Go ahead and go.
She needs to come down.
I know.
Such a grand introduction.
I know.
So mine's not gonna be as thorough as hers. I did the best I could. You know,
I hope yours is not as thorough.
it's not. It's not. Okay, so your last name is
Lemacks.
Lemacks, okay. So Jennifer Lemacks got her BS degree at Florida State University in Food, Nutrition, and Exercise Science. She got her PhD from Florida State University in Food Nutrition, Public Health as a secondary emphasis. Dr. Lemacks' professional credentials include registered dietitian commission on dietetic diet. Am I saying that right?
Just say I'm a registered dietitian.
Okay, she's a registered dietitian. State of Mississippi Department of Health Serve Safe certification. She also has other professional training, such as a certificate of training in level 2 adult weight training, weight management, American Dietetics Association from Charlotte, North Carolina. Certification of training in adolescents and child weight management, American Association from Daytona Beach, Florida. Dr. Lemacks. Her teaching interests are nutrition, medical nutrition therapy, micronutrition, and nutrition politics. Her research interests currently activities including health behavior change and nutrition education interventions to decrease preventable chronic disease and health disparities in unserved populations in the South. Awards that she has earned are the 2015 Center of Community and Civic Management Community Service Learning Faculty Innovation through 2014-16 Loan Repayment Program Awardee, National Institute of Health 2014 College of Health Emerging Scholar Award. And that's all I got.
Good job.
Good call.
I like doing that.
Any more? Anybody else? Oh, okay. We'll start. All right, like Lenina says, I'm Darlene Willis. Thank you for inviting me, and it's very interesting. I've been visiting with her, and she's told me a lot of good stuff. Okay, I'm not much for speaking. I'm a shy person. So, and I understand you guys have had some previous speakers from the tribe. So, but I'm gonna say the things I was gonna say anyway, because the more you hear it, the more you'll remember. And so we're the Mississippi Band of Choctaw Indians, and it says Choctaw Hapiaoke. That means we are Choctaw. And so let's do this. Okay. We are a sovereign nation, and we're one of the federally recognized tribe, and there's 562 recognized tribes, and there's approximately 11,000 members. They've been going around saying 10,500, 10,700, but today I was looking at our patient load, and it was 11,300 or something, so I'm just safe to go with 11,000. We're Mississippi's top 5 largest private employers, close to between 5,700 to 6,000 people who are employed with the tribe or the casinos that the tribe owns. Okay. These are the locations, geographical boundaries of the 8 communities that we have. I don't have a pointer, so we have Crystal Ridge in Winston County, Redwater and San Pine in Lee County, Pearl River, Tucker, and Bochito in Neshoba County, and Conaheta in Newton County, and Bohoma in Jones County. Has anybody visited the reservations before? Of course. Okay, and so that's who we are. And hey, just if y'all have any questions, just stop me at any point, because I can't speak for 30 minutes. All right, I work at the Choctaw Health Center, and our mission there is to raise the health status of the Choctaw people to the highest possible level. And our vision is to achieve a healthy community through holistic health services in a culturally sensitive environment in partnership with satisfied customers, dedicated employees, and the Choctaw community. That's who we are at the health center. And this was our health center from 1976 to 2015. It had 10 beds in inpatient. We were really tight. People were in broom closets, as offices. They had to cut some of the inpatient rooms out to build offices and stuff. So that's it was a very large. I believe it was like 58,000 square feet. And today we are in this one. So it's a 3-story, 178,000 square feet. 3 stories. The diabetes department is on the second floor, and we have we have like the other clinics. We have clinics in the Redwater and Redwater, Conaheta, and Bochito communities. We have clinics there too. and we include them in our number of employees, and so we have about 360 employees, Choctaw Health Center. And we're getting ready to build a Redwater, a new clinic at Redwater in the maybe next summer, 2018. Okay, and they use this term best practice a lot in the IHS, and I'm pretty sure everywhere. So unity is our best practice, is the way we look at it, and it's because our layout looks like this: the administrative support. We have the community-based diabetes prevention program. We have the special diabetes prevention initiative, and we are a nationally recognized, ADA recognized diabetes program. And we have an eye care team that was established in 2010, and USET, United South and Eastern Tribes, and the community people. They're in the center of our focus. And administrative support includes the tribal chief, the council, and we have a health governing board, and then our administration looks to the health governing board, and then the governing board pretty much consists of the leaders of the health center, and then members of the council, and then the chief is the chair for that for the health governing board. Has anybody heard of United South and Eastern Tribes? Okay, there's 26 tribes from all the way up to Maine, all the way down and across to Texas. These tribes, you see those numbers, there's tribes in these states that are part of this United South and Eastern Tribes. And so our tribe, so whenever they have USET meetings, Lenina, you might have been to one before, but anyway, each governing area, area like the health, they have a health area, and there's these groups of people. When they have a meeting, they all come together and they all share one goal, and they try to improve the services in that area, whether it's health or social services or law enforcement or economic development. So they USET is kind of like, we're under the umbrella of United South and Eastern Tribes, and the headquarters is in Nashville. Okay, and this is our organizational chart for our diabetes clinic. We have, I'm the director, I'm the coordinator, but this year, starting in January, they're changing my title to the director, because Sharon Thompson is the SDPI. We had two grants, Diabetes Prevention Initiative, the other one was Community-Based Diabetes Program. But the initiative is going away. At the end of March, it's going to go away, and so we're going to all come under the community-based umbrella. And so I became the director, and Sharon's going to be the coordinator. And then we have people who work. We have a fitness trainer, case manager. We have a best practice case manager. We have a fitness center. So and then the two diabetes prevention specialists and JVN technician. And we have, on the clinical side, we have the secretary, the FNP, the RN, and then we now have a CDE as well. Oh, are you a CDE? Are you not? Are you going to be?
Takes a lot of clinical
It
hours.
does. Yeah, a lot of the dietitians don't want to be a CDE.
What is CBD? Well, technically, we feel like we don't need it.
Oh, really? Is that what it was?
Specialty.
Is that what it
You know
is?
I mean? But,
What is it? What does it stand for?
Certified diabetes educator.
Oh.
Okay, and so the general population versus the diabetes population. There's, like I said, 11,000. When I pulled it up today, the number of people we serve, this is just tribal members. So we have other tribes that come get services there. I didn't count them because it was easier to count just the tribal members. So we have 11,375 that receives health care from our health center. And you can see the ages, less than 20 is 4,644, 20 to 44 is 4,329, and so on. And then 52% are females, 48 are males, and then the diabetes population, I'll have a chart here in a little bit to give you numbers on the diabetes population. But if you, as you can see, this report comes from, we have a diabetes audit every year. And so this audit, I mean, the percentages here on the diabetes population comes from the 2015 audit. The 2016 hasn't come out yet. So, so there's 2%, 2%, which is like 14, 20, under 20 who has diabetes. And 27% of the 20 to 44 and 70% of the 45 to 64. So, and as you can see, 54% of the diabetes population is females. And what I believe there is that it's probably about equal, it's usually about equal, but the males, you know, it's just hard for them to come to see the doctor. I mean, they're not gonna get tested. They don't wanna get tested. And so that's why I think it would be about equal if there was more males that came to get tested. All right, and according to that same report I'm talking about, the Mississippi Band of Choctaw Indians, we are 1.8 times higher than the Nashville area. Nashville area, meaning you saw that map that you said, that's the Nashville area, those people. So 3.3 times higher than the IHS wide, you know, that's included everywhere, like New Mexico and everywhere else. And then 6.1 times higher than the U.S. age-adjusted rate for all races.
Okay, so 1.8, that's the USED area, and 3.3, that's all Indian Health Services. So Choctaws are even higher than the Indian Health Services, three times as high as, and then 6 times.
I don't know that we're higher than Navajo, but.
Or Pima.
Pima, yeah. But
on average.
Uh-huh.
So they're just averaging across all of them.
all right, so this is the chart. I'm not documented only. Okay, no, there's 1,870 of the tribal members, Mississippi Choctaw tribal members, who have diabetes, according to the registry that I play with. And of that 1870, 1,581 are considered active. Active means they have been to see the doctor for their diabetes in the past year. So if they haven't been to see us in the past year, they're not counted in this 1581. And as you can see, 1,012 are female, and 858 are male. And then I know there's 14 of the 20 and under, but one of them is not active, so I gotta find who that person is and bring that person back. And 521 of the 20 to 44, and 765 of the 45 to 64, and then 240 or 65 plus.
And you told me before that you guys don't distinguish between type 1, or you don't know about type 1.
All of our patients are diagnosed with type 2. And we've always said it's kind of weird, but it is. It's that way. We were talking about diabetes prevalence and problems that we have. A lot of the Choctaws, well, our natives really, their blood sugars, I don't know how it is with your tribe, but the blood sugars, a person walks in the door, and if they haven't been to see the doctor or took medicines in a while or whatever, their blood sugars may go up to like 1,200, and they're still walking around. Versus a non-native, if their blood sugar's like 400, they're in a coma. And so we always wonder why that's so. So there's another research project for you. It is, because I've tried, whenever we were involved with the NARCH project with Vanderbilt, I tried to get him to do it, because I said, this is the way it is, One day, there was this person that came to the doctor, and they had took his blood sugar, did his lab and everything. He hadn't eaten yet, so they sent, I said, I'm hungry, I need to go eat. They said, okay, go eat. And then the labs came in, it was like 1,200. And the nurse was going crazy because she was afraid that he was going to go have an accident or,
Go into a coma.
go into a coma somewhere. But he walked right in, right after lunch. He was fine, walking, smiling, and everything. We're like, we were just happy he came back. We're just happy he came back. Yeah. And so the diabetes, there's a lot of complications, and I know most of you guys from back home, that a lot of complications happen. Blindness, amputations. We have when a person is over, I don't know, even in the teens when they're a little heavy, or we always want to take their blood sugars. Check their blood sugars. Nowadays, there's this thing called A1C, and not nowadays, but it's always been around. But they use the A1C as to diagnose people now. They can do that now. Before they couldn't, but they can now. And so you come in, and the A1C is when your blood sugar determines what your blood sugar's been on average in 90 days. So. We were talking about, y'all know what cirrhosis is, right? Cirrhosis of the liver is, right? And so we were talking about that. And before cirrhosis, when a person was diagnosed with cirrhosis, it was because they were heavy drinkers and they, drank all their lives or whatever. But nowadays, there's this thing called fatty liver. And you probably could talk more about that than I can. Anyway, it's called fatty liver, and that causes damage to your liver too. So you can you can get cirrhosis of the liver with the fatty liver, and it's from eating fatty foods.
Why you putting me out? Because I don't eat my vegetables.
Yeah, you need to eat your vegetables, and she'll probably do all that too. She'll do the food preaching, but I just kind of wanted to point that out because more and more of our people, more and more people are coming down. Are developing cirrhosis, and so that's something to be mindful of when we're eating. Or if we have people, if we have people who have diabetes in our family, we need to encourage them to see the doctor occasionally, not occasionally, but on a regular basis, and take their medicine when they're supposed to. What we've noticed is a lot of people are afraid to come in. I know even my relatives. I have relatives that don't want to come because they're scared of they're going to get in the hospital. It's hard for them to see that if I don't go today, it's going to be worse tomorrow. They think it's just going to go away,
I'm like that. only because my mammal died in the hospital, and
You're just scared?
yeah, I was the last one to see her alive, and an hour later she passed, and I was little and never just had to go to the hospital. Even Tammy can tell you, she's like, you need to go to the hospital. I'm like, Tammy, you're my doctor now. I exercise too, Tammy.
Yeah. Okay, so the diabetes program, we have, like I said, we're ADA recognized diabetes program. I don't know if that means anything to you guys, but it didn't mean anything to me until it kind of fell in my lap and I had to. I had to be the one. I had to do it. So I kind of know what it is now. Before I just knew that we had a certificate, but now I know what it means. It means you can bill. But And so there's a lot of other native tribes out there that they won't have nothing to do with this, you know. And so each meeting, each coordinators meeting that we've been to the past 3-4 years, somebody is there trying to get them to apply for this, and you know, now they won't. And then now they have a DPP recognized program. But that's just so far-fetched. It's just hard to. I mean, because when we had that, there was a grant. Well, not a grant, but the DPP study a while back ago, years ago. Now the CDC. It was the CDC's, I think. Anyway, so we had that program too, and it was that demonstration project, and we had people, you know, that. We have people that's been on there for like 10 years now, you know, that they're pre-diabetic, but they didn't develop the disease, so, you know, it's working.
It works.
But they didn't keep that 7% off. And so, not for the whole year. They took the 7% off, you know, first 3 months or whatever, but after that, they kind of gradually came back up, so I don't know that we have any of that. We might have a couple of, but the good thing about it is they're not diabetic anymore, you know, they haven't been diagnosed, so that's good. Anyway, so our program, the diabetes prevention program, has been around since 1998, and we've done a lot of things. The initiative project has been around since 2004, but that's, like I said, that's the one that's going away. So the next slide is the things that we do that I was gonna take a while doing this, but she took my no. Anyway,
Your the thing that I lifted you up. Yeah.
See,
Told on you.
told on me,
I
yeah.
got lost and I thought that was all stuff you did.
Yeah, that's what I do. Yeah, anyway, so yeah, this is what we do. We go into the schools every year, go into the tribal schools and do height, weight, blood pressure, and blood sugar every year. And we do health fairs and wellness seminars. We have a booth at the fair. We check blood sugars and we give out good stuff like that. Everybody's tired of my bags, so can't get rid of them. And then we have cooking demos. That 10,000 step program, I was gonna, you said you wanted to do something for the kids here, students here. We have a 1 million step. Have y'all heard of the 1 million step program we have going on?
You start running.
What that one?
The sleeping count.
If you kick, if you sleep right. Anyway, but the 1 million step program we started on January 1st. It goes through May 5, and we gave everybody a pedometer. It was one of those El Cheapo monitor pedometers, and so and then we put it on our shoes. And it's easy. I mean, I get like 17,000, 18,000 a day or whatever.
What?
Mm-hmm.
What?
When you put it on your shoes, it counts every step. Every step counts. Doop, 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 doop,
That conversation exists.
Does it count if I'm shaking my leg? 'Cause I can't.
No, that doesn't count.
Still.
I know, I'm like that too. And then when I'm sitting there like this, I hear click, click, and I have to stop. Anyway, so I try not to cheat. But and so my husband and I, if we haven't reached 10,000, it's 10,000 steps a day, and for 100 days, 10,000 is 1 million steps. So it was when we said 1 million steps, everybody, yeah, let's do this. When we said 10,000 step program, they were like, same thing. But when we said 1 million steps, everybody was, yeah, let's do it. So we have about 150 people, participating in that. Every day or so, my pedometer broke. I said, okay, get another one. We just keep giving out another one. So, but it's fun. It's fun to see people out in the community trying to get their steps. I gotta go get my step, and everybody's leaving the office and doing that. So,
We should have a competition between
Yes.
Mississippi State students and Southern Miss students.
good. There you go.
There you go.
There you go. We're
And
gonna
they
do
get
this.
some big prize,
Mhm.
like a fry. Well, no.
Fry bread. Fry bread. Fry bread at the end of the day. Like fry bread.
Ooh, let's eat that.
Anyway, so but yeah, we ought to do that. I'll
We
think
should do that.
about doing that. You're my
Yes.
contact person then.
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, I have an idea.
Mhm.
How about you know how we have school day and we have powwow? Well, maybe the day before before school day or after the powwow, we should host an event for diabetes
Mhm.
here. If that's okay.
And you know what? If you had 80 kids participating, if 80 kids, if I can get 80 Native American students from all the different colleges, and they could get 12,000 steps a day, that day it would be 1 million.
Wouldn't that be cool?
So one
The
day,
1 million
one
day.
1 million day,
The 1
12,000
million day.
steps.
Wow, we could do that. That would be easy.
So
We
get-
could
get-
do
All
that.
right, we gotta get on our powwow attire and go out there and stomp.
See, that's what I was trying to do with the high school kids. You know, because there's a health program that we're a part of at the high school, and there's like 80 kids in there.
We gotta compete with them.
Okay,
Get
okay.
them into it and let the college kids
And the high school kids.
and the high school kids and
Mhm.
have a competition.
Mhm.
That would be fun.
By the end of the semester.
Uh-huh.
Let's just stop all this and plan this program.
Help me out here.
I just got you out.
I know. Yeah, let's sit down. Okay, yeah, and so that's what we're doing with the Indian Set program. Water aerobics,
I like
community walks. We have a walk on April 29th, and so it's on a Saturday. Flyers should be coming out sometime this week.
There, guys.
It's too early.
I'm sleeping.
That one day, that one day. Okay, and so you can see what we do.
There are guys, I would like to do a community walk. I would like to do a walk, but take a biologist along with us and let him point out the native plants and tell us what,
Mhm.
like what we can eat and what we can't and what was used for this and that and the other. 'Cause
I bet
that'd
you
be-
wouldn't find fries or hamburgers in there.
Or fried bread
Or
either.
fried bread either. Oh, okay. And the next few slides are gonna be.
World Diabetes Day, like what day is
Oh, that's in November. It's usually like on November 15 or 14, something like that. And we have, you know what? Y'all can. What we tried to do to get the schools to create a blue human circle, and we had Redwater doing it. We had Pearl River was gonna do it, but they was waiting for me to come out there and help him organize, make him do it. So everybody wore blue that day. They didn't even go make a circle.
I got plenty
You
of
know what
shirts.
we need one of those, what you call it, drones. And then
Yeah.
they can make a blue circle
Uh-huh,
and let them fly over and then you guys can,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, we do that at the health center, but we have like 20 people coming out and do it. But yeah, that's what we do, create Human Blue Circle on World Diabetes Day. So,
So next, this year, we should get your workers come down and
do one.
Because November is also American Indian Heritage Month and diabetes is very much
Mm-hmm.
rampant in
Mhm.
Indian country. And so we should focus on that. It's like we'll get all our, I think
and
that's
that
it.
way I can get money from y'all if it's on my birthday.
Oh,
I'm kidding. It was a joke.
Well, we could once a semester do 1 million
Mhm.
steps
Mhm,
and
okay.
do a competition. Just
That would be awesome.
wouldn't that be awesome? Yeah. And the thing is, when you get other kids involved, when you get other students involved, they do it because one another's doing it. It's
Uh-huh.
like, it's just good for everybody. So, let's do it. I'll work with you on it.
Okay, good.
What about
We
fitness?
could give them these bags.
They could take these bags. These things are actually pretty nice. Good job.
Fitness Day. What was Fitness Day? We have, gosh, I think I have pictures. Hang on, so that would be, probably the boot camp stuff. I think I might have boot camp on there. But anyway, so, we'll move on. The next slides are gonna be pictures of, the Unity Walk, the famous Unity Walk that, Darlene talked about.
Wow.
So,
I'm
Wow.
way back there.
yeah, that's what the Unity Walk looks
Dustin
like.
should be in the Tucker, the green one somewhere.
Unity Walk is usually held on
Blake should be in there too, in the yellow part.
the yellow one, huh?
No, I'm over grilling golf cart.
Yeah, he's always
I
grilling
was
burgers
in
for
a
us.
baby blue. No, we in baby blue. We in dark green.
Yeah. Anyway, so this is this is kind of like she said, kind of like the opening of stickball season. We have this on a Saturday, 2 weeks, probably like 2 weeks before stickball starts. And so all the stickball, we have stickball players, teams from all the communities. And that morning, they walk from their practice field, from their community, to this central location at the baseball field. And then when everybody comes together, then they all walk to the amphitheater. This is the amphitheater. And so you can see all that. And then these drummers, we used to have like 2-3 drummers when we first started, but we did our 10th annual this year, right? And so, yes ma'am.
Which community is the longest?
Uh,
Other than Oklahoma, what?
Red, blue.
Well, Oklahoma is, but Oklahoma usually starts from Union. So probably Conejera. But a lot of times Conejera will start at Hope Store or something. But when we first started this, everybody.
No, Conejera and Unified, they kind of like they run together. That's what my stepdad says, because he goes like halfway, not at Hope Store, but a little bit further. He says they usually come together.
Okay, yeah. And then Redwater, I know, comes from their field, and Bokchado comes from their field. So, where's your field at? Where's your field at? The ball field?
North of Garden is basically towards softball field.
Okay.
You take that road, you go up that hill, the stop sign on your left, which takes you when you go.
And turn over?
You're gonna kind of go like towards town. But this, you ain't missing this.
So it's like 20, maybe 25 miles. It's about 25 miles.
Yeah, they cut through the square.
Okay, yeah.
And they get on 16 and
Yeah, it's 24, 25 miles. And Bokchado is about 25 miles. So.
That's a marathon. Wow.
I'm glad I didn't have to walk that far.
Yeah, but they
From Lake Cushmata.
yeah, and when they all come together, everybody's eating fruit or drinking water, just resting and everything. And then I used to try to yell. I used to have a bullhorn. Come on, let's start. But nobody was listening to me, so I got the drummers. Hey, come here, beat your drum. And the drummers start beating, and they have the ear for it. And so they all start coming together and they start lining up. So it's awesome. It's pretty good. That's people look forward to that. Even when the stickball coaches have their meeting, that's one of the questions they ask. When is Unity Walk? So that's one thing. And then so we get they march to the amphitheater, and right here is like the bleacher area. And so the drummers they get there first. They walk first. So they go down and make that circle, and they continue to beat the drum. And so let's see. I might be out of time. So let me move on. Okay. And so this is just some more pictures of the Unity Walk. You see them coming in from Highway 16. People line up. They wait for the teams to come in. And okay, this one is the Elderly Activity Center. We have exercise chair aerobics over there, and they love it when you take their picture. The next one is the boot camp that we had a couple years ago. We're fixing to start back up in March. Another boot camp.
What are they doing?
Navy SEAL training.
And then we do diabetes education, and we do some kind of activity for the schools, all the schools. There's 8 schools, and then this is an old picture. This is 15th annual, but we just had our 20th annual. So, and back in the old hospital, we had the wellness day, and this is what it looked like. This is how cramped it was, in the whole hospital when we had the wellness day. We sent like 100 appointments, and 30 people would come at a time. And it was we had to do this in order for people to get their eyes checked, the retinopathy screening, because we had a optometrist come at only 4 days out of a month, and they only gave the diabetic patients 1 day, 1 4-hour day. So we had to cram them in there, you know. But now we have a clinic. We have our own clinic. We have our own stuff, so we don't have the wellness days anymore. But we still do these activities. And the vision center is right next to, like, a couple of doors down from us, still on the second floor. So, does anybody have any questions?
Yeah. Okay, let me read my question, and then you ask it.
You get points for this?
Yeah. Okay, so, so my question is, we know what what we consider a traditional diet. How difficult is it to try to encourage a healthy diet or to try to work around, a cultural way of eating not so healthy foods? I mean, how is it like an uphill battle, or is it trying to mix a good diet into that, or what is your?
Well, our ancestors used to eat a lot of vegetables too. So,
Yeah.
so like hominy and stuff. You can eat it. We're not saying we don't tell anybody you can't eat this, because they're gonna eat it anyway. The more you say you can't, they're gonna do it. So like hominy, just serving size. We tell them about serving size. If you eat this, don't eat. If you're gonna eat a hominy and fry bread, just eat portion size. Don't eat those big fry breads. You can eat a small one. And
Especially with tacos.
huh?
Especially Indian tacos. It's
Mhm.
gotta be big.
Not really. when I make Indian tacos, I put my stuffing on the side, and I eat it fry bread that big. So I don't put it on there because it's gonna mush it up, and I don't like it like that. Anyway, but yeah, we don't tell anybody you can't eat in it. You can't eat hominy, you can't eat fried chicken, but just eat portion size. And if you're gonna eat that, if you're gonna eat hominy, fried bread, fried chicken and dressing or whatever, don't eat the cake. Or if you're gonna eat cake, eliminate something, or just portion size.
That's being
And
cheating on your
Dietitian.
portion.
I've heard them say that. Yes.
Are there like certain foods like that you would recommend that would be like like a monthly or basis that you would say, hey, you can eat this certain type of food this day, during the week, like Monday to Friday, but maybe like on Saturday and Sunday you could splurge a little bit and eat something different. Y'all recommend like any certain particular foods that would be healthier as opposed to others?
That would be your question. We have our dietitians have a menu that they give to patients all the time, and it's probably but I don't think it's, hey, you can have 5 sticker bar on Saturday or anything.
Right.
I don't think they tell them that. But like the saying goes, if you fall, get up.
Say that one.
We can't say don't fall.
No.
But if you fall, just get back up. Ride that horse. Yes.
What's the statistics on deaths of natives dying due to complications of diabetes under the age of 40?
Oh, under the age of 40? I don't know about under the age of 40. But on average, we have had like 60 to 65 every year that die from complications of diabetes. But I don't know. But I can tell you that we have there's more and more people who are being diagnosed with diabetes that's under 30. A lot of them lately. So it's just when you saw the population of tribal members, it used to be 50% of kids 18 and under. That was a few years ago, but now they're past 20. So it was like just about the same. The 18 and under, 20 and under, and 20 to 40 or whatever. That age is like 44 and 43 or something. They're almost they're 25% each, close to it. So the kids that used to be under 18, they're in their mid-20s now, and a lot of them are getting diagnosed with diabetes. So for like if you go to 80 or something and look at, it says that you have to, if you're over 40, you need to get checked for diabetes. but there, it's, you know, you just need to get checked with for diabetes when you're over 20. And so, yes ma'am.
Has the rate of diabetes improved since the program?
Since the program, we knew when we started this program that it was going to increase because we were out there screening more people. So, you know, and we just continue to screen. So, it hasn't, well, in the past, when we came, for the first few years, first 10 years or so, we found on average newly diagnosed about 90. The most we've had was like 105. But last year we had only 72. In 2015 it was 72. And this year was like 69. 2016 was 69. So it's coming down, but it might be that we're not finding them. But every time, since they decreased the A1C from 7 point to 6.5, you know, just about everybody has diabetes now. and so I'm like, y'all quit taking it down. But anyway, so. Any other questions? Anyway, but this is my baby. But he's 16 now. But I like that picture, so. Y'all know Reyes? Oh, you know Reyes. Yep.
He plays baseball with my brother.
That's right, Anna Lucas. All right, so yeah, we believe in unity, and the departments, they work together. The people who want to attend functions of any tribal program and our program, you know, they get administrative fees. The chief allows them to leave, and so and she gives us support.
Do you guys look at rates of diabetes as a function of like in the tribe, like obesity or playing stickball, like kids who play stickball every year? Is their rate for diabetes different, or is it a certain? Do you do research?
We have not done that.
Or even as a follow-up to some of these programs, do you look to see if the program, like people who participate, have a lower incident, which can be confounded by if they're participating, they're already interested in, you know what I mean, and may not be the pro, but still, it's like something that says, okay, because I like to know for those stickball players, people who come out and play stickball every year and run the field and practice, and you know, maybe it's different for.
Practice starts like in March. Then you're gonna see more people running, jogging, walking, practicing, exercising, getting in shape.
Work out.
For that.
I just go to practice.
And then we have those.
That's why I called her out.
She's a good sport, though. No, I mean, because there's so many of them. I mean, there's like, and any given year there's 32 teams, and the 32 teams all have at least 30, at most 80, 100, you know, on the team. So I don't know how we could do it. I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible. With some help, with some help from research people, that's possible.
She just charged us.
All right, I'm done.
Thank
I think I took too much time.
You take glad.
Jennifer Lemacks.
What, Blake?
Can I do that for
Your project? He's in my stats class. She's not. I'm going to get on it. He has a test tomorrow. Ooh.
Tag, you're it. All right, fire all those questions at her.
Now they're gonna go dead on me now.
Did a good job.
Can we have like 5 minutes?
Especially the
5 minutes? I'd like to use first.
Like, you don't
I'm not gonna be done?
What do you think about it?
I don't know. 30 minutes?
I mean, like, I didn't know when class ended or.
Oh, no, it goes on and on and on.
I see.
I was about to say, where'd you get that burnout weaving healthy families? And then I remember that's my.
Yeah, it confused me for a minute. What is that? That is not mine. Alright. Anybody else need to go to the restroom?
Oh, go back to get my cringe.
Standing ovation.
Who has their papers to turn in? Turn them in right here while we're waiting. That way. I'm working on
I
that.
think colleagues should get credit for this class.
But isn't it funny, like, when stickball season comes around, that's when everybody gets up.
I think I already did yours.
Oh, we got a stickball pole out here too.
Yeah.
No,
They put it down because, you know, they used to feed culture.
They put it up and down, up and down.
The coach said,
Yeah.
We're designating the practice day coach.
Culture.
I'm actually ready to talk to you.
That's the coach.
Tomorrow.
Oh, he's the coach?
Okay.
It's actually coming up to me next week.
Okay, coach.
What
Whatever.
is your stats?
Dustin and Lacey.
We're gonna get you a little beaded whistle.
Thanks.
Oh, we need 6 coaches.
Water boys.
One for defense, one for offense, one for center, and the other team know how offense.
I'll call the game.
I need to get my sugar tested. I don't think I've had my sugar tested or something.
You ever got a tester with you?
Yeah.
Next
there
week,
you go.
Ellen.
Yep.
Yes.
There you go, you got it.
All right. What is this stuff? Oh, this is. Oh, our rooms are not that fancy. Have liquid chalk.
Don't mess, cause I've already been over there taking that apart.
What a pain in the ass. I didn't even know they let anybody in this building.
American Indians.
All right, you ready for me? So tonight, it is such a pleasure to see you, Jeannie. I didn't get to officially say hello. Tonight, my goal is to paint a little bit of a deeper picture, I'm thinking anyway, of a diet-disease relationship. So hopefully I'll get to find out maybe a little bit more about what you know. I want you to check this out for a minute. These are the rankings for the leading causes of death in the U.S. You do see, as we've just had our diabetes presentation here, that diabetes is number 5 amongst your native population. So y'all know what the AIAN stands for, right? And then compared to white. So these are typically your leading causes of death in the U.S. And I've bolded some. Why do you think I bolded those? I've got heart disease, I've got cancer, I've got stroke, I've got diabetes, kidney disease, liver disease, cirrhosis.
Those usually, oh, sorry, go ahead. Those are the leading, causes of death. Maybe those are, cancer, stroke, diabetes, they're all, the leading causes of death, maybe.
These are all the leading causes of death, yes. That is correct. Food is my motive, always. Food.
And aren't most of those, like, you don't have to cure it. You don't have any cure.
Well, it depends on how you define that. They are, I mean, you know, if you have heart disease, for example, it could be made worse and you can die of it someday, or you can reverse it, right? Cancer, same thing. You might have cancer, chemotherapy, get rid of it, go on about your business.
It can always come back.
Yeah, in some
That's
cases.
what they tell my grandma.
There are points of no return for some of these, you know, when you get to a certain severity of disease. But definitely you can sort of ameliorate or make your condition better, right? How do you think you could do that? Food.
Diet and physical activity.
Like a little graphic there.
I have an odd sense of humor sometimes.
We never.
I kept him cute.
He's cute.
Yeah. So, for such a small percentage of the population, Native populations definitely share their burden of preventable chronic diseases, such as diabetes, as we just talked about, and even heart disease. A lot of these chronic diseases that we've talked about, they all share the same risk factors. So by engaging in some of the preventative behaviors, you're really preventing quite a few of those diseases. At the base of them, they have the same prevention list, and we'll get to that. So you see this picture in the literature in different sources, maybe a little bit different, but essentially the same message, which is that do we have a predisposition to disease? Are we vulnerable to disease if we inherited a vulnerability from our parents and grandparents? Yes, this is true. We do have a major genetic cause of disease that we can inherit, if you will. Is that an end-all be-all? Not necessarily. Why? Because a lot of our the factors that influence our health are actually our behavioral choices, individual behavior. It's typically around 40%, genetics around 30%. So what we do can definitely influence our outcome in life. And what do you think those behavioral choices are? With me, the answer is always food, right? Number one. But in all reality, it could be diet, it could be exercise, it could be smoking, it could be drinking, all those behavioral things that we choose to do in everyday life. And then this picture so appropriately includes environmental conditions. You've got access to health care and receipt of health care. That's a major factor, as well as social and environmental circumstances. What would be like a social factor?
Cultural eating habits.
Culture could be a huge factor, right? Just the way my people eat is a big one. What else?
Depression.
Mental health,
Yeah.
sometimes it depends on the
You're
paradigm
depressed,
you're
you
looking
wanna
at.
eat more,
Mental health
or
can
you're
fall
stressed
into
out.
that. Right. I've seen mental health in that paradigm as well. How about the money I got? The money I make, where I live? All those factors can definitely play in there. Yep, and we said stress again, right? Whoever said that. So if it's so easy, how many of you think this way? How many times have you come across patients in your clinics that think this way? All the time, right? What does this tell you when you read it?
How unhealthy we are.
How
Our
un-
choices, the choices that we make a lot of times are unhealthy. And
Doesn't matter.
I'm gonna die anyway.
And you're gonna die anyway, so what's the point, right?
I think it ignores quality of life.
Amen, brother. Amen. That is my response every time. Every single daggum time. Somebody says something like this to me, or this comes up in a conversation. I say, well, do you want to spend 20 years losing your feet and your eyeballs and the expenses associated with that, and to have your relatives, your daughters, your sons, your brothers, your sisters watch you lose those limbs and eyeballs, visit you in the hospital 20 times, ... before you finally keel over? That sounds like torture to me, right? So while it's fun and dandy to think this way, oh, we're going to die eventually, it catches up to you. So it matters. And not only does it matter for you, what motivates a lot of people is how they influence their future generations. And for them to see somebody go through, these issues. And my other kicker I love to bring up is that while you might think that your behaviors just impact yourself, that is not true. We now know a world of epigenetics. Has anybody ever heard of epigenetics? No. Well, I'm keeping it light, don't worry. Epigenetics is basically what we're learning about our DNA. Y'all know what DNA is, right? That's our map work in the body and what we pass on to future generations that make them them. We once thought, okay, to influence an individual's health, we've got nature and nurture, right? Nature's kind of what you're dealt with, and you treat it right along the way, and it'll be all good. Well, we've learned since then that you can actually influence your DNA, you can change your DNA through patterns of behavior over time. So, if I eat French fries all the time, and that's the only thing I like to eat,
I'll turn into a French fry.
I'll turn into a French fry. Maybe on the inside, okay? It's a good analogy. On the inside, I'm going to become what I ate. This high-fat glob, okay? That, in turn, is going to change my DNA, and actually for the worse. It's going to predispose my DNA to diseases such as high cholesterol, diabetes, all these other preventable diseases that we talk about. If I eat a French fry, become a French fry on the inside, and decide to have a little French fry, I've just passed that DNA that I have essentially worsened through my behaviors on to my little French fry. And so then they could make it worse and so forth. See what I'm saying? So now there's this weird concept of there's this magic going on inside. And it's kind of black magic because we're changing, our own genetic makeup to really work against us, not only as individuals getting older and now, being more likely to have diabetes and heart disease and so forth, but now when I pass it on to my kid, I just gave that kid a higher chance of having diabetes, blood pressure issues, all those things. At one fell swoop. And don't think you're off the cuff, guys, because you pass on sperm, and that's where your little genetic map comes from. So same thing happens for you. All your behaviors impact your DNA. You pass that on to your kid. Okay?
People have talked about that, Jennifer, as the reason why it might be that natives are more predisposed to conditions like diabetes because they went through, historically for 100 years, we went through kind of like starvation because they put us on reservations and we didn't have food. So your body, what they say, or what I've heard another speaker talk about this, is that your body goes into starvation mode. And starvation mode is you store fat. You store up whatever you can. You slow your metabolism, you store it up, and what the guy said that was giving the talk is that and there's depression associated with that and all kinds of stuff. He said that, like the historical trauma that people talk about, and they were talking about historical trauma as being passed psychologically down from your ancestors to your parents to you. But really, he said, it's being passed in the genes as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's kind of the big thing, and it's sort of the hot topic of the genetic science, if you will. There's still a lot of things that we don't know. Some things we just can't understand through humans because it would be unethical. But we're making a lot of advances in this way, and there's a lot of research that really supports these ideas. So, yeah, and so if even take it a step further, this is the most abstract piece. So you've got the first generation, the parent, who now passes it on to the child, but then you don't think about how the child already has a genetic makeup inside. They've got sperm or eggs being created, right? Whether they're female or male. So they've already now got, for the next generation, influenced all by you. None of you are parents, I don't think, right? Anybody a parent yet? Is this sitting with you pretty hard? It usually hits the parents a little bit deeper than my nons, because you get it.
Yes and no. For me, seeing my little girl, and from what my mom would tell me about when I was her age and everything, she's far more advanced and a lot smarter for her age and already grown up and showing these signs of wanting to be older than what she is, if that makes any sense.
Yes, it does.
That tells a lot about her. She's doing something that I never thought a 1-year-old would be doing. So it's
She's
probably
only
for the young
one?
time. Yeah,
That's
she's only
sweet.
one.
That is sweet. Yeah. But it's not an end-all be-all for her, is it? Because if you instill healthier choices in your life right now, and thus in hers, she will be influenced for the better in the long run. So you all remember this morbid tale when you decide to become parents and all that. This is the point I want to make with this. Below here, you see all these different dietary and lifestyle factors. You've got smoking, physical activity, avoid overweight, which is essentially related to physical activity, and diet. You've got a breakdown of consuming healthy fats, fruits and vegetables, whole grains, limit sugar, etc., etc. The point being, you've got cardiovascular disease, diabetes, cancer, all kinds of diseases across the top, and there is a vast and pretty strong amount of literature that shows kind of that associational relationship between your behaviors, diet mainly is what I'm focusing on here, and a risk for chronic disease. So those are two heavy hand-in-hand things. And again, we saw in the chart earlier, that's 40% of the risk to begin with, so it's substantial. But guess what? It's really easy. The recipe for a healthier lifestyle is this: no smoking, maintain a healthy weight, eat healthy, be active, drink in moderation. Done. We got it? You do 2 of those things. 2 is better than none. Those none people exist. Okay? And as I discussed or briefly mentioned before, that diet and physical activity, this is pretty much the list that goes with the prevention of any chronic disease, essentially. Cancer, cardiovascular disease, diabetes. You flip the chronic disease switch, you're going to see the same list here, how to prevent it. The only unique thing is that we talk about maintaining a healthy weight. What do you got to do to maintain a healthy weight? So it's kind of like a double-edged sword there with the healthy weight, which then puts you at risk for chronic disease. I mean, we know some people, for some reason, have a genetic propensity to be heavier. And so when they engage in poor diet and poor physical activity behaviors, they tend to put on the pounds. All right? That's not necessarily true across the board. Some people are just genetically heavier but can be healthy. And vice versa. They can have poor behaviors and not be heavy. Right? We know this to be true. So it's very individualistic. And we have kind of this scenario that we've been looking at, once called metabolic syndrome, metabolic X, whatever you want to call it, this overweight sort of condition where you have high blood pressure, you'll have high lipid levels, and kind of all the bad things happen. When you're that overweight person, you are the person that your weight is definitely a risk for chronic disease. So we do have kind of healthier heavy weights. And we're not talking about, anytime a dietitian is talking to you about a weight, I'm not talking about some ideal 150 pounds that everybody should be at. It's very individualized and depends on the person. Okay? And some people may not ever be this tiny person. And that's okay. But it's about achieving the healthiest version of you. I'm very passionate about that. So let's talk about these food behaviors. It's my favorite part. When I want you all just to imagine something that you just love to eat. Now I want to hear, what is it that you love to eat?
Pecan pie.
Why?
I don't know.
What? What?
I just ate it like yesterday, so that's why it made me think of
You just randomly eat it. It's not even November, boy. Eating pecan
It's
pie.
good. It's not healthy. I know that, but it's good.
So is there ever a certain time or place or moment where you're like, you know what, I just have to have some pecan pie?
Not really. I mean, it's just sometimes I'll get a hankering for some pecan pie. I'm like, I gotta have it. It's not
You're
really
craving
a special
it.
occasion.
Right,
That's
right.
the question, no. That I just want it.
What else? Don't be embarrassed. He threw pecan pie out there. That's just about as bad as you can get.
Mangoes.
Mangoes. What makes you want a mango?
It's so sweet. That's what I can tell you. I always get mangoes at Walmart. Mangoes or oranges or pineapples.
So you like fruit.
I love fruits.
You
My
like
nephew
fruit.
does too. And he's only 2 years old.
Did you eat fruit growing up in the house?
Growing up, I ate vegetables.
You ate vegetables.
My favorite vegetables were green beans and sweet peas.
Good deal.
But now I switched to fruits.
I want you to think about something that is traditional. That a holiday comes around or somebody's birthday happens.
See, I got it figured out for it. It's that fruit basket they give out at Christmas.
Yeah.
I don't even see mine.
So Christmas comes around and you're looking forward to a fruit basket.
Yeah. They give you a fruit basket.
Pick up your
Yeah, go get it. They give you a fruit basket. And it's like fruits and all kinds
That's
of
so
stuff.
healthy though. These are not the answers I've been expecting. All right. What about Indian tacos? Fried sweet potato pie. When does that sucker come around? Is that an all year thing?
No, it's, my grandma used to make it.
Ah.
Just whenever she cooked on weekends, and she always had those.
So when you think about grandma, you think about that sweet potato pie.
She lived right across the road, so we just ran over there. Whenever she cooked, she'll cook because she'll leave the door open, the screen door would be shut. So you smell it when you walk outside.
What happens when you smell it? You're ready for it. Time to stop and go to grandma's house, right? We just hit on a couple there. Okay? So, sense of smell, right? When you smell something, everybody ever smelled something and just wanted to eat it? I don't care if I'm hungry or not right now, that just smells good, let's eat it. Right? How about going to my grandma's house? Anytime I personally go to my grandma or my mom's house, I go straight to the fridge, to the snack drawer. I mean, that's just, it's comfort, right? So you have these kind of outside associations.
So, one of my favorite things that I like to eat, and I don't know if anybody else does in here, this is just a country guy in me. My grandma used to make pig feet.
Pig feet.
And I tell
Well,
you,
you get along with some of my populations I work
last
with.
weekend I asked her, I said, hey, when you gonna make some pig feet anyways? I'll be hungry this weekend. She said, I'll buy it if you cook it.
Aww.
I like pig feet.
Isn't that funny? You like pig feet.
You belong with my family.
Pig
I
feet,
know.
pig feet,
Pigtails.
pigtails.
You belong right in the southern country.
I just want to eat chili. That's one thing
Just
I wanna
draw the line there. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. But there you go. That's kind of the same thing. I'm going to grandma's house. You best have those pig feet ready, right? So there are, obviously there's the feeling of hunger. I'm hungry. I want to eat. But there are so many other factors that influence our food consumption behavior. Down to the feeling of comfort, down to feeling sad. How many of you are comfort food eaters? Me. And then there's the opposite. If you're sad, maybe you don't want to eat anything. There's those too, right? That's still food consumption behaviors. How many of you eat something just because you know it's healthy?
Does fruits count?
Are you eating it because they're healthy or because they taste good?
I like turkey.
I like turkey. So you
when
pick
I-
turkey because you know that's healthier?
If
Nutrition
I
content.
exercise, like if I sweat a lot, I tend to eat more fruits than I eat like regularly because to me that gives me my energy, that gives me my quench and thirst.
So that's like your health food.
And,
That's like your health thing. I see. Yeah, I can see that relationship too. So there's so many different reasons why we eat the foods that we eat. And it really, we've been talking about a lot of person-related factors, But there's a lot of other things outside of us that really influence what we eat, right? Can you think of, when you think of this world and how it interacts with each other, can you think of some ways of how native populations over time, how the way they eat has been influenced?
Today's, I guess, our generation, everybody's always on the go. Everybody's gonna be somewhere, so it's like nobody ever has time to really make a home cooked meal anymore.
Welcome to America.
So it's like every corner you have something that you can pick from, just like here in Asbury.
Very legitimate, yes, definitely, and that's the now.
I mean, I'm
And
hard to
plus,
that in
like-
class.
Plus, like the cities now, they're growing pretty much. Like there's like all kinds of chains of restaurants that's coming in and just influencing everybody to have more variety, whatever they want.
That's right, that's
And
right.
if you think about it, cost-wise too, eating healthy is expensive than
That's
eating
right.
fast food.
Eating is expensive, period. Eating healthy can be that much harder, especially if you don't know how. You've been disconnected. You know, go through generations of quick meals and different ways of eating, you lose kind of how to even eat, right?
And I guess you can say it's mentally too, because some people have that mentality of, oh, when I stress, I have to eat. Because I'll admit, I was like that.
Right.
I was going, I was princess for my tribe, and I was going to school, and I was 140 when I was crowned, and I was 180 when I gave up my crown.
Is that a year?
Within the year.
Yeah.
So I
Sounds like a
stress
stressful
eat.
time,
That's why
yeah.
It's like I try to like not stress eat now,
Mm-hmm.
so that's why I tend to eat a lot of fruits.
Mm-hmm.
But I've always eaten fruits. So
That
I
kind of
guess
helps you deal those fruits.
So I think it would be like mentally too.
Definitely. Huge. Huge.
Your eating habits can change based upon your environment. I mean, the picture that you have up there, I look at all of it together, and I mean, based upon where you live, I mean, you may eat something in one area that you wouldn't eat, you know, if you lived in another area. I mean, just your environment influences your eating habits.
Definitely. Definitely. And wouldn't you say there was a time where we relied a little bit more on our natural resources to feed ourselves? We'd hunt, we'd fish, we'd grow, we'd gather. Anybody still do those things? Good for you. Maintain the connection. Be the movement. So, you know, that is a huge kind of change for native populations, even others. That change in the way of life, that change in the way we eat, and so forth. And we really see that across all populations. So much more than just ourselves, right? Over time, we've seen hunting regulations, fishing regulations. This is my land, not yours. You can't use it. All the way down to the beach is just eroding because sea levels are rising. So land is literally being lost for some people and estimated not to even exist in future times. These are big things that impact the way we eat. If I, count on fishing for a living, and now I have to be a commercial fisherman to provide for my family, but I can't really do that. There goes that. What do I do? How do I make a living? How do I feed my family? Oh, I can fish, but guess what? My waters are poisoned. Doesn't matter what I catch. Can't even eat it. Am I getting deep on you?
I've experienced it.
You've experienced this? What was your experience?
Really, it was a pond on a dirt road, just close to the
Uh-huh.
Me and my brothers used to go out and just walk around in the woods. And then that one time we found a pond. There was no warning sign or nothing, but we caught some fish. We we would pretty much just catch and release them just to
Right.
see what they had. in
Just
their
for fun.
pond.
It's fun.
So, come to find out, there was these people that came and tested it, and it sure did have mercury in
Uh-huh.
it.
Ooh, good thing we didn't eat it.
There was another pond that it was deeper in the woods. We went to that one, and it kind of looked like the same thing as that other pond did. It had the same color, the same thing. So what we had to do was find other places to fish,
Find
and
other
which
places
was
to fish.
farther away from home.
So when you found out that you thought those ponds have mercury in them, how'd that make you feel?
At the time, I really didn't know much about what mercury was till I got older, but now that I know, I was like, if they weren't, so polluted, then we would have, a resource close to home in walking distance. But now we have to get in a vehicle and go off somewhere in another county just to go fish.
Right. For a reason, for essentially something that human beings have done. Right? And at the time, you were afraid of it. I'm going to take a leap there. You were afraid of the food source. You abandoned that. Said, oh, that's poisonous, right? I can't eat that. And so luckily, you were able to find other sources. That doesn't happen all the time.
I read a book called, I took a geography course last spring, and one of the books that we were required to read was called The Lentil Underground.
Mm-hmm.
And it talked about I don't know if anyone who's ever read that book, but it talked about an agricultural revolution, and it just seeing all these pictures about how our environment affects and shapes the way that we live, what we eat, and everything. It talked about in the book, kind of its main focus was how farmers, since like the 1950s till now, laws that have been enacted it's really put farmers in a bind that they once were they did farming for a living. That was their livelihood. Well, now a lot of them were forced to move to the city to find jobs to provide for their family, and it just kind of talked about how hard it was with how laws that have been enacted, and it's just it's been an agricultural revolution, as it said. It was a change.
Right.
It has affected. We have been affected, by our own government and our environment. So
Definitely. That definitely hits a point and looks at it from a different angle too, from commercial farming and so forth. And why we don't have nearly as many farmers as we used to. It's a trade being lost, just like many of these skills are being lost over time. Big problems. If only I could say, hey, eat some broccoli, you'll be good.
Oh, I do.
That wasn't personal. That wasn't personal. But there's a vegetable. Ding! She does eat one still.
That was a big joke.
So you don't really eat broccoli?
Oh, I do, but
Okay.
it was going
I was going to say, you did get me internally excited still. So again, big problems around eating a healthy diet. Simple solutions? No. Anybody ever heard of this guy? I always butcher his last name. You want to? Frere. I always want to say Frere. I have that affliction where if you read something wrong the first time, if you've never heard it before and you read it wrong, it stays that way with me forever, no matter the corrections. And his name, my goodness, is one of those things. I want you to read, this is one of my favorite things that he has said, and I want you to read it and tell me what you think that means to you.
you have to respect culture.
You have to respect culture.
You have to understand the people that you are. If you're going to implement a law that affects not just one particular cultural group, but I mean, in America, we're very diverse. So if you're going to implement a law that's going to affect everyone, you need to understand a little bit about the people themselves, so that it will be fairly implemented.
I couldn't put it better myself. Is that what you got from it?
Because
Yeah.
you can offend a lot of people,
You can.
Mine was
and it won't
simple.
work.
Mine was simple. It's like you tell someone to do something, they're not gonna do it. It's not because they're
There's the
being a
application
rebel.
of it.
Yeah, they're not being a rebel. It's just the way they grew up. It's the way that they were taught. So if someone out of, like you said, out of the culture or out of a diverse race, group, whatever, they're gonna be like, what do you know about, what do you know about us? Did you educate yourself about us, our eating habits, our diet, stuff like that. So basically, it's like, I'm not gonna do what you tell me just because you're probably an educational person or a political person. That's just how I see America. It's like you don't know when something affects you unless it affects you too.
That's right. And you just summed up my next 3 slides.
Disrespect.
She's good at that.
Yeah, she done. Shut it down.
I didn't know what you had.
No big deal. No big deal. I love it. I love the input.
I was just gonna say, just because what's respectful or for one person or group of people can completely be disrespectful to another group. And it could be, you don't even have to say anything. It could just be something as simple as a gesture.
That's right.
So
That's right. And we like to kind of refer to that disconnect with the community as sort of that ivory tower. And in a research sense, I could design the most beautiful diabetes prevention program from my research tower, not even consider the people I'm supposed to serve, go ahead and implement the thing, or at least try to, and fail, right? Because from up here, I don't understand what's going on down here. And guess what? You don't understand what's going on up here. So there's a major disconnect. And the key is, we've got to come down to the ground with the community. What were you gonna say? What were you saying?
She said, you're going negative on her.
No. But looking at this, I'm like,
Yeah, she's like,
I need to stay positive, so I just make sure
she's been in this situation before, that's what she's saying.
It's totally different, okay? You are the native program for the natives. You get it? This is what I'm getting to. So,
You lost your train of thought, didn't you?
this is not something that is taken very lightly in many cultures. This idea of, in my case, a super researcher, this, here I come to save the day, I'm going to defeat all your diabetes amongst your Indian population, no problem, I have the answer. Who am I, right? Flying into your community, trying to help you. You don't know me, and I really don't know you. And we see this, I see this idea in a lot of populations that I work with. I haven't had the pleasure of working so intimately with the native population, but I have with African American populations, and they feel the same way. They want to know why you're here. You think you're going to save me, or you're going to help me help myself? They want the latter answer. So this approach, or abandoning that old approach and adopting a new approach, is the way of the future. Coming from a girl who totally believes in this from toe to head. So I'm a little biased, okay? I see no other way, all right? But I think people agree with me because it's being adopted pretty rapidly, okay? This idea of community academic partnerships, this idea of putting patients at the center of a health program, saying your voice matters. If I'm going to design this program, I need to talk to you because you're the one who I'm going to serve, right? You got an advisory board? A lot of clinics and have advisory boards that are informed by their actual patients. These are ways that they do these things. And in my own research, I actually have community investigators. They're not researchers. They don't work for the institution. They could be a pastor. They could be some school board worker. They could be whoever has a passion and knows their community and wants to work to make a difference. So I always like to think of it as we're all experts in something, right? I have my content expertise, but I have learned that I don't know a darn thing about the Choctaw or the Homa. I'll learn eventually. That's what cultural humility is all about, right? But I don't. So I'm not an expert in all these other populations of which I don't exist in. Okay? And so just somebody even from the lightest sense of being from Forest County, and I'm not from Forest County, that is an expert in itself. So people from these communities that we attempt to serve have much to offer our programs. And this is something that is taking, again, just gaining popularity. It's becoming the standard, if you will, in our area of work, in my area of work. I want to give you a practice example. But first, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about mercury. Okay? What do you know about mercury? It's the first time you went quiet on me. It's poisonous. Birth defects, legit concern there.
I
Okay.
guess it depends on the amount of mercury you ingest.
Indeed. So what a lot of people don't know is that mercury is naturally occurring. Just like many of the natural elements on the periodic table, they just exist. They don't go anywhere. Unfortunately, due to many reasons, we now have increased amounts of mercury in our environment. So think about pollution, think about erosion processes, different things that might release more of this chemical. And it does accumulate in the soil of water. And then what happens to it? It ends up in plants, little microorganisms, little fish eats it, big fish eats little fish, so on, right? Eventually human scoops out big fish and has it for dinner. Okay? So just a little tidbit, the biggest fish kind of has the most mercury. The fattiest fish stores the most mercury in its tissues. And the more polluted the water is, the more mercury the fish is going to have. Okay? It is recommended, so somebody mentioned mercury and birth defects. Huge concern. Mercury is, because of its neurotoxic effects, it really just shuts down the central nervous system, to put it in short. Okay? It could cause death if in excessive amounts. So, because of those effects, it is so important that a pregnant woman really watches how much mercury she eats, because we know that mercury gets into the cord, into the womb, everywhere. So it passes all through, and then you've got this tiny little being in there that is very susceptible. And also growing children who are developing are very susceptible to neurotoxicity effects. Okay, it could cause developmental delays and so forth. And if a certain amount of damage happens, it's actually irreversible. So it could cause permanent damage. All right, so very, very dangerous, but something that we can deal with in normal amounts. All right, so in this example, we've got kind of a closed water system. We're thinking about all the Great Lake tribes. All right, and they've got this mercury problem, essentially. And so they wanted to look at, how do we address this mercury problem? You know, it's impacting our native tribes' diet quality. They're afraid to fish. They're not feeding their families. They want to know how to solve this problem. So this is the problem that the researchers set out to solve. And so they worked together to find out what mattered to them and came up with this beautiful map. Seems like common sense. But this wouldn't have happened without the involvement of the tribes to really find out what it is that they needed. What was most concerning to them was that, okay, if you tell me I can still eat fish even though there's mercury in the water, how do I know how much? How do I know when it's dangerous and when it's not? And the scientists answered those questions by developing a simple map that says, okay, well, if you get fish in this region, you can only have 8 ounces a week. If you get fish over here, you're good. Don't worry about it. Over here, maybe 12 ounces. Simple tool, simple solution. A researcher alone would never have come up with that solution. I hate to say it, but it just wouldn't have happened. This came from answering the population's questions, which I believe is where all research should start, from the population's questions. It's a little bit of an application, has more of an environmental perspective, if you will. But we know that there are so many other issues centered around diet issues, right? Somebody mentioned limited funds. Money, we talked about money. It's a lot more expensive to go to the grocery store and buy fresh produce than it is to buy your flour and shortening, right?
Those keep forever.
And they keep forever, yeah. You don't have to worry about stuff spoiling if you don't know how to can it and deal with it, which most people don't do that anymore. Most people don't know how to preserve stuff. Salting's gone. We don't know how to do things anymore. So those are culturally lost skills. What about availability and access? There's another big problem. Right. In Mississippi, when I talk to a lot of my students about where they're from, they'll say there's not much there. You know, we have a lot of food deserts here. And there's either a convenience store with a lot of stuff in them, because they know there's nothing there for you, so we're going to stock up our store just for you. Or there might be a McDonald's or a Ward's or whatever, right? Then it's cheap and easy. And we don't have time for that, right? So there's that. And then culture. We talked about that in the beginning. Do you think if I went in as a dietitian and told you, well, you just can't have any more Indian tacos? That's not happening, right?
It wouldn't matter.
Community-based research right there. I would need to know, okay, we are not replacing these Indian tacos. So what can we do about these Indian tacos, right? If anything.
Just don't take the hominy.
Just don't take the hominy, she says. Well, culture's huge. This is one of the biggest, most difficult factors as to why people don't change. And they'll tell you across different cultures, well, that's the way my mom and grandma always did it, and you want me to stop doing that. And that makes me scared that I'm going to lose what we've always done. That's my connection to everybody before me. That's huge. You don't just tell somebody to get rid of Indian tacos. You work with Indian tacos. You know, and that's just a simple example, but it just goes to show how difficult it is to actually intervene in diet. Diet is so complex. I hope it.
Eat the beans too then.
Yeah, eat the beans. Beans are so good for you. So I hope you've gathered from my presentation today that maybe dietitians are not just lunch ladies. They're the birds.
Back home we call them the birds.
And everybody thinks that we're judging and all that stuff. I know. Our secret name for ourselves is the Fatty Patties, because most of us who are in it love food. So
No, the ones back home, they eat so.
that's just what they show you. We got a front, you know, because everybody's always judging us.
Yeah, he tried to do a portion diet, and he was like, you should try with me. I was like, I love food. I'm not going to last within a day.
Five portion meals a day, and then 2 scoops of protein shake before I went to bed. And I kid you not, I was a lot more hungrier than what I was
Right.
doing it.
I believe you.
I was just too hungry.
I believe you. Did you see a dietitian?
Well, no.
His friend told him to do
Uh-huh.
that.
That's what happens.
Either way, it was alright at first, but I could notice something changing in me and everything. And I just didn't.
Well, you know you work out.
Couldn't hack it.
You have to have a higher calorie
Yeah.
intake than the
So-
person.
Yeah, you might have been starving yourself. That's what it sounds like.
Now I eat what I want. I still
Said the heck with it. The heck with it
I
all.
still go work. I do just fine. I feel great.
But isn't one of, like, another problem, it doesn't really, like, not eating too is a bad habit as well.
Yes, very bad.
Especially if you're, like, working or doing something and you just, your mind's off of food, but you're just
Right.
whatever to keep you occupied.
Yes, because you throw yourself into that starvation state, which keys down your metabolism.
I've done it once for
Mhm.
almost a week and I was made to eat. But it was like during like the Choctaw Indian Fair and it was the year I won Princess. I didn't eat, I just drank water. Because I was always on the go. At 7 o'clock in the morning I had a photo shoot. I had to go to like meetings and go talk, sometimes be on
You
the
were a
radio.
celebrity.
Then like I was out and about, people coming up to me, taking pictures, asking for my autograph. I was everywhere during the fair, and so I didn't really eat. And my mom got concerned, so she
Wow.
shoved an Indian household and told me I'm not gonna go out to any of my events until I eat.
Good for her.
I drank a lot of water though.
I know the next time I see a princess somewhere, I'm gonna walk up to her and hand her a bar of some kind. Like, here, eat.
I mean, like the other ones after me, they've been eating. They love food too, but to me, I was like, my job's more important.
You were too stressed.
And-
Yeah, and that's not good for you.
Yeah. So I can see it goes both ways, like not eating to eating too much fatty food.
All the factors around it and that influence it. It's complicated stuff. So I hope what you gathered today is the stuff's complicated, but community-based solutions are the answer to it. Get involved. The end.
Yes, you should.
We want
Yeah, you want my dietitian?
You may not like my rate.
I'm okay.
You're okay?
He takes hard criticism pretty well.
He does? That's good.
We'll invite her over next time we make some hominy and Indian tacos.
She's probably not gonna eat it.
Oh.
She'll probably
You don't know dietitians very well. Remember what she was saying all about portions? You'll watch me tear up some hominy in portion size amounts.
You guys have any questions?
I do. When I was doing when I was looking up the information and stuff, that's kind of weird to say.
That's okay. You were stalking me. It's all good. I was gonna quiz you guys when I heard you were supposed to read up on our bios, but
What
you
is-
took away all my quiz questions.
What is nutrition policy?
Nutrition policy would be like looking at how, think of something fun and controversial. Looking at how the subsidies, agricultural subsidies, have influenced diet over a span of years. Or if I impose this rule, how does that impact health? Those kind of things. Kind of the politics, the policy of it all, and how what are their outcomes. Yes.
Crazy question. Okay. What is that called? Okay. Does the safety of pasteurization of dairy products is that more important than having just real dairy products, or is it sort of like, because I always read about how other countries have unpasteurized dairy products,
Mhm.
and they're just totally happy with it, and it's supposed to be better. So like, are we just really just denying ourselves something, or is it like a serious enough safety concern that it should be in place?
Well, I would say probably at the time it was serious enough. I mean, listeria is pretty legit. I don't know if you've ever known somebody who's contracted listeria. I mean, that's probably not very common because we pasteurize stuff. But I'll give you an example. I had a friend who traveled to France, ate unpasteurized cheese, got sick with listeria, and was hospitalized there, actually near death. So what were the percentages do they warrant it? Some people would say if you lose 500 people out of the nation, it's serious enough. You know? I mean, I don't know what to tell you about that. I don't make those calls. But we don't see listeria issues in our nation because of that. And honestly, you don't want to see unpasteurized dairy products in our country now. Just because of the way the dairy and agricultural practices are, unless you get it locally from a farmer that you know, I would not want to see unpasteurized products out there, unless it was from my farmer down the street that I knew.
I didn't take into account the corporate farming.
Yeah, so I think a lot has changed about our industry, you know, that it's not a good idea, and you don't see that same like food industry culture in other countries even. You know, so you think about your smaller European countries, they're still a lot less industrialized farming wise than we are here. So I kind of think we're like too far gone for that. You know? What do you think? Huh?
That makes me sad.
Makes you
There's
sad?
lots of community dairies and stuff too that are working
Yeah.
there are people working to put that back into the economy too.
There are, and some places you can actually buy it, and it's like pet grade. You know, they just say it's for pets, but you can drink it. That's just what they say to get away with it and not get.
Country Grove Creamery. There's a creamery close around here somewhere.
Yeah,
I used to get one from her. She's down over there in Purvis.
their milk is awesome, and they do pasteurize. They have to.
But they still have a lot of the things that get removed in the corporate milk. I mean, it tastes better and different.
I mean, I think Country Girls is awesome. That's
Yeah.
about as good as you can get. To me, it's more about like the grass fed and the
store?
not.
Country Bills is at a store.
Country Girls? It's a farm in
How do they sell it?
They do have it. They have their own little on the farm store, but then they have it like in Corner Market. I think I've only seen it in Corner Market. And some other local kind of places.
This
This was
farmer's
some.
market.
This was.
Oh, they do sell it at
some
the farmer's market.
lady that met us on 28th Street in her van.
What is going on, Tammy?
And it was unpasteurized because she got it right out of the cow.
Yeah. Well, that was illegal, but you didn't like it?
The worst thing ever.
It was different. It had a huge. He hated it. It was the worst thing ever.
What made it so bad?
I didn't like milk for a while. It's horrible.
Good job, Tammy. Probably poisoned the kid.
I like milk. Like, regular milk from water.
Nice try.
I like it. And the cream off the top. Oh my gosh. there's
Yeah.
so much cream
Well,
on
Country
it.
Girls is you have to shake it. You know, it separates and stuff. Yeah. I love it. No, it doesn't. I mean, they have chocolate milk that does. Chocolate milk is to die for. It's like liquid ice cream. It's so good.
Field trip.
Yeah. Seriously, we take our interns to Country Girls, so you should totally take them. It's a legitimate student experience. I'm all about it. Well, any other questions? Yes, dear.
Going back to the mercury example, is fish the highest that has mercury?
Well, there are many different kinds of fish. And so fish is where we are going to predominantly get it as a food source. And your big fish like your tunas and mackerels, and if you eat sharks and swordfish, the types of very predatory fish, those are going to have the highest amounts. In our lakes, though, in our freshwater, fish like bass, whatever they call them in other parts of the lakes and whatnot, bass, we'll stick to that. Predatory fish that really eat other fish and hunt and stuff, they're going to have the highest amounts of mercury in them.
Salmon, not salmon.
Salmon, yep. So you just have to watch how much then.
6 ounces.
I love fish, man.
Yeah. You're generally safe with a white fish more often. supplement with the pink ones.
I don't know about eating that, but I used to love fish.
Fish is still good for you. Any other questions? Anybody else need to get some points?
They did good, huh?
They did do good.
So
Yes, dear.
where's the highest mercury that fish, like what state?
What state? Oh, I have no idea. I really don't. But you know how he was talking about the ponds and stuff? Those landlocked waterways are going to be like your most concentrated. And a pond is probably typically a smaller body of water with no flow and nothing. Those kinds of waterways are going to be more at risk than like a flowing river or like a really large lake that has a good flowing system. You know, in the Gulf, for example, you have high mercury fish in there because you got deep waters and things, but it's generally not a huge concern unless something catastrophic happens. So it just depends on if the water's moving and where it's at and how big it is. Anybody else?
Thank you, Jennifer.
You're very welcome. Now what? Are we done? Can I just shut down? Okay.
And thank you too. You guys did a great job. And I want you to exchange information, or I'll be the go-between, or we can, because I really want to do that. The fitness, yes, I do. Yes,
Get
I
the
do.
nutrition students and the foreign language students. We have a competition between the students.
Yeah, we
So you can walk most?
We have to do something. That would be